Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, your favorite, my favorite, Winslow, Indiana's favorite, it's Sejohn Sarowick. How you doing, Sejohn?
Hello, Winslow! It's because I start every episode that way. That's why they love me so much.
The best part is this is the first time that we've actually been cleared to release a Hello, Winslow episode to the entire country. Winslow, Indiana gets a specialized episode of the Say Report called The Win Slay Report. This bit has already died on this. Sejohn, tell the people why the bit already died. Tell the people what's up.
The bit's not dead. Here you go. Here, we'll put a nice button on this one. Yeah, no, they get the cut where we leave in the Let's Go Winslow and take out all of the Devon coughs.
Ouch. Ooh, my heart. The Devon coughs are why some people listen.
Look, after this past Wednesday's recording of the ASCU, I will never overlook it. The coughs will never be the thing that I worry about.
That's fair. I can't believe that happened in that Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe episode.
In studio.
And not in the episode where I drank 12 different Mountain Dews.
Oh, man.
I mean, there was some rumblings in that one and some escapes. But no, the mightiest.
Great escape.
It made it all the way to Mexico, and now it's a bullfighter. Which is a nice way to cross-promote the fact that we have just launched the 8th season of the Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe. We kicked it off with the 1996 forgotten film, Bulletproof. Though I say forgotten, it's got a sequel that came out in 2020. But
Yeah, man. Has anybody since talked to you about it? We have this uncanny nature of bringing up these things that we feel like lost to time, and then suddenly, confirmation bias kicks in, and it's all we hear about for the next month. I have not been able to avoid Weezer for literally like 2 months now. Has it been?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry about that. Well, the fact of the matter is, what I wanted Sejohn to reveal, aside from all of our behind the curtain truths about Winslow, Indiana's cuts of the Say Report, is we're doing a Friday night recording, right? You don't need to know that. We don't need to tell you that. But
Friday night fly-by night. This is seat of our pants.
Yeah, this literally Sejohn at, I have the transcript. Let's go to the transcript. 15 minutes ago, that's not true, 20 minutes ago, I received the following from Sejohn. Hey, you're not around tonight, are you? I'm pretty much on my own, and we were already talking about moving recording. And now it is 7:05 on a Friday night, and we are recording. So,
hey, everybody.
And the person that we have to thank for that, there's 100% a reason why we're recording right now, and it's not Sejohn for being free. It's not me for being free, because I went hard all week, but we can talk about that. The person that I'd like to thank for this episode is Dale, my younger sister, Dale Decker, because if she had been able to finish the Tekken 8 story prior to 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, then I would not be in a state to record. That is the nicest way that I can say that. But
what's going on over there in Tekken World? How they doing? It's a little wild how that kind of the game went nowhere.
I mean, that's not true. It went somewhere when you compare it to something like Mortal Kombat 1. This past Sunday, it was on sale for $35 at Walmart.
And Tekken 8 or Mortal Kombat
Tekken
1?
8. No, Mortal Kombat 1, I think if you buy Tekken 8, they give you 7 copies, and they're like, if you could just take the trash out for me. I don't mean to be so mean to Mortal Kombat 1, but dear God, did they take a pretty... No, we're going completely honest with it. It was too soon for another reboot of the series after the, frankly, stellar fucking reboot that was MK9, or just Mortal Kombat. Like, there was no reason for them to be like, we have to reboot it again. And then, the cool idea of, Mortal Kombat is always being rebooted all the time, so don't get mad at us for rebooting it 3 games later, because literally it happens all the time. Have you guys heard of the multiverse? Because it's like Ed Boon finally learned about the multiverse and realized, I can do whatever the fuck I want with Mortal Kombat now. And
Well, the crazy thing about that is nobody had ever told him he couldn't before.
right.
Like, it's not like this was when Mortal Kombat got crazy, right? Like, Mortal Kombat has always lived in this world. They've always done whatever the fuck they wanted. In fact, the idea that they quote unquote introduced the multiverse, and this is not me calling you out. This is how everybody was talking about this game. Is that like, oh, now there's a multiverse. Mortal Kombat's always been a multiverse. It's realms. They've just always come from realms. That's a multiverse.
See, but that's the thing. That what they did was Idrisil, right? Definitely existed in Mortal Kombat, right? Because you have Earth Realm, Outer Realm, Nether Realm, all the Necro Realm. They've always had realms.
Yeah, they've had other like Nordic leaning character development and stuff like that. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So they always had realms. But then what we found out is that their tree of realms is not a tree at all, but a branch on another tree. And that's fine. I'm completely fine with it. In fact, I'm really all right with it because it leans into the fact that depending on who I pick to compete in the Mortal Kombat tournament, right? And if I finish the game, they're the champion. And they just kind of like leaned into the fact like, oh yeah, like story-wise in Mortal Kombat 11, Liu Kang became a new god and rebuilt the universe. But, like, it could have been Sonya. It could have been Johnny. It could have been any of the other characters. So that at the end of it, all of the god versions of the characters who attained godhood after the events of Mortal Kombat 11, both good and evil, fought with each other. And that would be fine. But then they're like, what if, in all of this pulling people together, we accidentally slam some of the universes against each other, and rather than bounce off and reverberate, as the Einstein-Rosenbridge theory predicts would happen, the universes merged. And so we get a reptile who's also Katana. And we come up with a fun name for that.
Again, like, and it took Ed Boon in his goofy ass hubris to really kind of like shine a light on this, I think, for a lot of people, right? But like the concept of the multiverse was just a loose sheet that was just kind of just like a thrown over just the wider idea that we all don't really care. If they change who the actor is that plays James Bond, we don't need an excuse why it happens. There's all of this talk about like, well, what if it was a code name or whatever? But we don't care. Like we like to have that thought, but at the end of the day, we will accept it. We don't care, right? The same shit goes for all of this stuff with Marvel. There was a conversation the other day about like how old Captain America is going to have to constantly how long he's going to have to constantly be kept in the ice in order to kind of keep up with remaking oh yeah, then he woke up in 2040, 100 years later or some shit. It's like like if we're going to see that eventually, and you know what? Cool. It's going to be fun. We're not really going to care. With this idea that we needed to invent the concept of the multiverse to kind of make things make sense has really kind of been the thing that ended up fucking us in the end. Look at what it did to Marvel Disney. Look at what it did to Mortal Kombat. We were so determined to try and ground the idea of, hey, sometimes an actor changes. Sometimes we just have to retell this story in a different way. Hey, sometimes I just want to fucking remake this movie, which is what artists do all the time. But we for some reason felt the need to put a story to it, and it completely ruined it.
Yeah, it really did. I don't know. But here's the thing. I'm calling an audible. The whole fucking episode's an audible. Welcome to the Audible Report. That's not the name of the episode because we're not on a report episode yet. But I am calling an audible right now. Sejohn.
Also, I think we have an episode.
We may have already called on that. If not, I don't know. We don't want to make Daddy Bezos upset with us. Right now, I know we're on his good side. Even if it's just 2 ticks, left of neutral, right of neutral.
2 steps away from selling. He's 2 steps to selling off everything and running off to space on his own.
Right, exactly. So I think if we called an episode the Audible Report, that could be the straw that breaks Daddy Bezos' back. I'm calling an audible right now. We're going to pause the recording, and we're going to watch the new trailer for Captain America Brave New World. Okay. Because you brought up Marvel, you brought up the multiverse. We're in this unique position where that trailer just dropped.
Yeah, literally an hour ago, right?
Well, a few hours ago, earlier today, right? What is time if not a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, fliggity-biggity-boogity, tackety-too?
Well, remember, I'm 2 hours behind you,
right.
So what was 3 hours ago for you was 1
No,
hour
that's not how it works, is it? No, I don't. No, it dropped on YouTube and you have access to it because you're in the same country. Will might not have been able to see it yet, being down under. But what we're going to do, we're going to pause the recording. Sejohn and I are going to go watch the Brave New World trailer, and we'll be back with our reactions to that trailer. So it's going to be no time for you. It's going to be 5 minutes for us. We'll see you then. All right, so we've now watched the trailer, and I'm ready to talk about it, I guess.
This was your decision.
I know that it was my decision.
It's all yours, Flyboy.
Oh, thank you. Oh, because of the Falcon. You get it, ladies and gentlemen? No. It was a Red Hulk reference, Devon. Don't you remember? In Hulk 431? I don't know what happened in Hulk 431. I know that there are at least 600 issues of the Hulk. Hi. So this movie was supposed to come out this past May under the moniker Captain America New World Order. How much of New World Order do you think is in the movie that trailer just was promoting?
You mean like how much of the original movie is still in this movie?
Yes.
I think we've lost a lot of that.
I agree.
I don't know, because here's so I'm not disappointed in the trailer personally. I'm excited about it.
Me either. I will say that. Sorry? I will make sure I am also not disappointed in that trailer. Okay. But I do wonder how much has changed.
Well, so the thing is that it has to be its own thing, and I think it is going to try and do that, and I'm just worried that it's going to just be too thin because it was not actually fleshed out, right? We talk constantly about how much I love Winter Soldier, and I have maybe talked about this, but here I will solidify this. The reason that I hold it miles above something like Civil War, the very next movie in the supposed Captain America trilogy, is because it has its own, it can exist in its own world. It has its own bubble that it works in as a film. I don't need to be dependent on 5 other movies. I don't need to be dependent on knowing stuff about characters. I don't even really need to know that much about superheroing, right? It does a great job of just kind of setting up who these characters are in this world. This real threat occurs and they face it, right? It's pretty damn good in that regard. It's a stellar action spy thriller in that regard, right? Taking it against something like Civil War, where there's a lot of stuff that happens in that movie, but it's all related. It's all related to other stuff. It's only important because of its relation to, right, other pieces of media that you have to kind of be involved in or aware of, right?
Oh,
and so
you're 100% correct about that. In so much as you say the Captain America trilogy, and that's true, the first Avenger, the Winter Soldier, Civil War, but also Winter Soldier weirdly kicks off this trilogy that is Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, Civil War. The arguments for that being a trilogy of films that could be taken in and be just as meaningful as something like the Star Wars first films or right. The Lord of the Rings is an argument that once people started to have that discussion with me, it changed how I viewed Age of Ultron and Civil War. I always liked Age of Ultron. Of course, I'm going to like Age of Ultron. It weirdly focused on all of the Avengers I care about. Not that it has to be that, but it's it was this movie that of all, you have 7 characters that you need to deal with when you're doing an Avengers movie. And the characters that I care about from my childhood, the books that I read, are Hulk, Black Widow, and Thor. And they're weirdly front and center in that movie for a solid portion of it. And after feeling that they were kind of underdeveloped in the first Avengers, that checked a lot of boxes for me. To talk about that, there's reliance on other films. But I also think that they were in a unique situation with something like The Winter Soldier, in the fact that because the last Captain America movie took place 90 years ago, all of those characters are fucking blank slates. Like, you basically are starting fresh with everyone who's in that movie. And, like, kudos to them. Because you're right. Because I was convinced. I had shot a bunch of videos. I talked about it, like, the Two Friends podcast was still going on. I was convinced that Robert Redford at some point in Winter Soldier was going to peel off his face and reveal himself to be the Red Skull. And the fact that they didn't do that made that film better. And still, they had that semi-reveal when the entire organization of the Strategic Homeland something Enforcement Logistics Division, what is it? Intelligence. I forgot about the I is intelligence in S.H.I.E.L.D. Peeled off their face mask to reveal that they were Hydra. Like, I still got that, but for somebody who had never seen a Marvel movie before, if Robert Redford, if the Sundance fucking kid had pulled his face off to reveal he was the Red Skull, a lot of people would have been, what the fuck is happening?
Yes.
And they were smart enough to, like, restrain themselves from that. So
you have both of those trilogies, interestingly enough, that lead us to this point, right? We have gotten to the point where Captain America is at odds with the country of America in this world. We have the idea that there is chaos after the blip and all this. What I'm saying is that this movie feels like it was originally shot as New World Order, and it was much more of that Civil War style. This is related to all the things that came before it, and this is going to tie it all into Cap's story, and you were going to be very dependent on that. And I feel like this is where they've kind of put their tail between their legs and tried to run, right? Is that I feel like they are trying to move it more towards being its own movie, and that's where I feel like I am worried it's not going to have any meat on its bones. Like, it's going to be one of those, it's going to be one of those rare, like, misses for me, and not like, because Civil War is enjoyable to me because of its references, whereas Winter Soldier is enjoyable to me because it's a good movie all on its own. This movie is going to try and serve two masters, and I don't think it's going to serve either very well. And so, like, that's not going to work for me, is like what I'm really worried about. That trailer was for a minute and 40 seconds long. For anybody that hasn't gone to watch it, like, it's not even like what I would call a full length trailer, right? This is not.
It's a teaser. And here's how you can tell it's a teaser, not to, like, navel gaze or pat ourselves on the back. That trailer does not have a Sejohn's Gambit in it. A trailer has a Sejohn's Gambit. That trailer has a tease. And it's the worst kind of tease for people who are familiar with Marvel stuff. Like, we all know who the fucking Red Hulk is at this point, right? Because, I mean, if they end up changing the identity of the Red Hulk, that'll be huge.
I don't think that's the big thing this trailer wants you to really latch onto. I think that for Marvel fans and for MCU fans, the big thing this trailer wants you to really come away with is feeling okay that you are seeing Harrison Ford. And I will say this, I am. This might be the most acting I've ever actually seen Harrison Ford do. Generally, he just comes into a movie like, yeah, I'm Harrison Ford. This actually feels like there's something that he's actually trying here. But I think this trailer, in terms of, like, the fan Marvel side of things, you're talking about this idea about the Red Hulk, blah, blah, blah. And, like, yeah, yes, we do know that. What we don't know, really, is how we're going to feel about the portrayal of this character by a brand new actor, where they're going to have to, just to go back to our multiverse conversation of the whole thing, like, we're going to just have to be okay with it. And the good news is we are, especially with the Hulk. We've already done this dance once with the Hulk.
Of all the characters to do it, and the fact that the teaser you're right. The MO of this teaser is, in large part, to make people fine and dandy with the fact that, you know, John Hurt is gone, and it is now Harrison Ford.
William Hurt.
William Hurt. Sorry. Yeah, I knew it was wrong coming out of my mouth.
Thanks for that reminder.
They're both gone. It's yeah.
No,
the fact that William Hurt is gone.
The reveal is not a Sejohn's Gambit, but rather, I don't know what we would call it, but it is his giveaway line, which I think is, like, they so want you to be okay with Harrison Ford in this role that they give you his giveaway line of the whole like, oh, you look different, Cap. Like, still trying to get used to the new face. Is that what he says?
Yeah,
Something like that.
I'm still struggling to get used to the new look.
Two things. Oh shoot, I can't remember the second thing. I'll have to rewatch it later. And we'll have to talk
And then
about
he's
this.
like,
But
yeah,
one thing for
they said
sure,
if I don't
they
lose the
definitely
mustache,
use-
I won't win the election.
They definitely use William Hurt's voice in that first moment, though, right?
Yes.
In that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't they? It's one of those situations where, like, it is stuff that he said before, and then they have that, like, but remember, it's Harrison Ford now, because William Hurt is gone, and we made a little joke about it, because, you know, Deadpool's the only thing that survives, right? We're still 2 weeks away from Deadpool. The most telling thing about the fact that right now, on this weird Friday, July 12th recording, that we're talking about the Captain America Brave New World trailer is we are 2 weeks away from San Diego Comic-Con and 2 weeks away from a new Marvel film, the only Marvel film that is connected to Disney that will be releasing in theaters in 2024, and the trailer has come out 2 weeks beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, what is it now? Echo, X-Men 97, and this, right?
Echo was December of last year. Echo is technically a 2023. X-Men 97, I almost talked about this in our Spider-Man. Nope, Echo came out, I checked it during our Spider-Man episode because I was going to bring it up, and then I didn't see an opportunity to. So, I mean, I'll confirm it, but I'm fairly, 2023 is the date on it because all of the episodes...
January 9th, 2024, first episode
That's
date.
so
right
fucking...
Google.
Then why is it 2023 as that's all ridiculous? I mean, I'm sorry about...
It was originally set to debut in November of 2023 and was pushed to January of 24.
So was it shown somewhere then? Is that why it has the 23?
Maybe.
So that's why it would officially be 23? Let's see, right? I have release date information here right in front of me. United States, November 3rd, 2023 in Durant, Oklahoma. And then it dropped on the internet. So you are correct. I'm really happy I didn't bring it up in the Spider-Man one because I'd feel like a very special asshole if I said something during a very special episode. So yeah, we had Echo. 5 episodes that, have you had a conversation with anybody about Echo, myself included, before this moment?
Yeah, my mom, my family watched it. We have a couple of friends out here that really dug her in the Hawkeye one. We had friends that watched Echo. What we didn't talk about it in any context was it being a Marvel property. It was very much one of those types of conversations of just like talking about it as just like a show, right? Like it wasn't about, like, whenever you talk about Marvel nowadays, it's always this conversation about like, oh yeah, and the ways in which that relates to this, or the ways in which he shows up and I didn't expect this character. And like, it was none of that. It was just like, hey, like the stuff that they really do about representation is really cool, and like the fight choreography is phenomenal, and not to mention all of the disability stuff they have to address. Like, it was those kinds of conversations. So like, I didn't talk about it in my geek circles much, you're right. But like in terms of like people around me that watch TV, Echo was one of those ones that actually hit really well for a lot of people.
I thought so too. It's just that anytime that I tried to bring it up with, you're not wrong, like the geek circles, immediately people were like, no, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something else.
Because they don't want to talk. Because they don't want to talk about Marvel right now in those communities, and that's like, you know, it's fair and actually probably long needed. Like take that breath. But yeah, so we've got Comic-Con and Deadpool and Wolverine coming out in 2 weeks, so there's going to be a full trailer attached, right? They'll throw it on Deadpool, Wolverine, and premiere it at Comic-Con, right?
Yeah, like that's why this is just a teaser. But then it's like, but it seems like such a strange time to do a teaser because those exact type of people who don't want to be talking about Marvel right now see this teaser and they're like, well, what was the point of that? Right? Like, why didn't you wait and premiere that at Comic-Con? But like you just said, and what I was gearing up to say is that, no, we're going to get a full trailer, like a proper 3-minute trailer at Comic-Con and before Wolverine Deadpool. Like, it's coming, but it's just not happening right now. So, I'm so happy that I'm downstairs recording. Totally off topic. I had to go through the Say library because I have to read a book for our very special episode this month. And the Say library was moved downstairs. Sorry, back to Brave New World. One reason why I think that New World Order is not is probably not the bulk of this film anymore, is one Giancarlo Esposito, who was just announced to be appearing in this film. I want to say like Sunday, maybe maybe June 30th. Like that information came out very recently that he was going to be appearing in the movie, and you know the collective disappointment that I'm like, oh, he's going to be in the movie, but like as a character that nobody really knows, and it's like, well, that historically is usually a good thing because that means that they could a good actor that everybody knows, and they're going to bulk up that character. But we'll see, right? Let's not pass judgment. And the fact that, you know, this movie was supposed to come out May 4th. One of the reasons why I was like, oh, we can do this as an Audible is when I came home today, my father's like, they're doing a new Captain America? And I'm like, yeah? Like, what?
He's like, so I remembered what my other thing was,
okay,
by
yeah,
the way.
Please, go for it.
You want to talk? This is where we're going to get into some possible fucking spoilers if you're not looking into this movie. So I'm about to throw some shit down, gauntlet-wise. You ready?
Infinity Gauntlet wise?
No. So did you watch with the closed captions on? I do it by habit now. I have somebody in the house that requires them. So
the closed captions are on, but then I shut them off immediately. But I bet one of the people was named in the closed captioning.
Yeah. So if you watch with the closed captions on, there is a moment where they stand behind a very purposefully shot character who has a trench coat and a hat on and is looking away from camera, and you get a couple of lines from that character, but you don't know who they are unless you have the captions on, in which it names them. It is Samuel Stearns. Fucking Tim Blake Nelson is coming back.
Well, they have mentioned that he was coming back in so many ways. Same with Liv Tyler. I was surprised that she wasn't in the trailer. So
yeah, but they had talked about kind of him being in the background, and now he's front and center in the fucking preview. So that is where I start to wonder if some of Brave New World, if New World Order is still in this in some pieces. Because you're right, they did talk about him back in the day, but so much has happened to this movie, and then like the reveal again of him being in the fucking teaser trailer.
I mean, it tracks for me just because if you're going to do Red Hulk, you kind of need the leader. Or Sam Stearns. I don't know. I mean, based on...
I don't know fuck all about the leader, and I have read plenty of Red Hulk stories, especially like Thunderbolts and stuff like that. So I don't know what you mean by you need the leader. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that like... So you've read after the reveal that the Red Hulk is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
Yes, as long as I have been reading Red Hulk, I have known that it is Thaddeus.
Yeah,
Ross,
so that's it.
We do need to keep in mind that that's been the case for.
Oh, that's been the case for much longer. But when the Red Hulk was introduced, the whole mystery was who is the Red Hulk, and then the reveal was that I'm fairly certain the leader is the reason that he became the Red Hulk. Like he teamed up with him for that, right? Am I incorrect on that? In my memories?
Again, as long as I have been reading him, he has always. I've always known that it was. I don't know. I didn't know the leader was involved in his whole steez.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain the leader is like the one where he's like, I've like changed the gamma so that you can keep your stuff. Red Hulk origin. Let's look at it. Leader and MODOK transformed Ross into the Red Hulk using radiation siphoned from the Hulk.
Are they gonna let MODOK be in this movie?
I mean, MODOK died, unfortunately. That would have blown me away. That would have been super cool but people hate MODOK in the MCU. I loved it. I think of the missteps that Ant-Man Quantumania represent for an MCU film, I was not upset about Corey Stoll transitioning into MODOK after being hit on organic tissue by Pym particles. That totally worked for me. Like,
yeah, and we I think we talked about this back then. That movie is two movies for me, and and anything involving like Paul Rudd and his daughter, like that side of that movie, I will defend to the end of the earth. I will give you that the other half of that movie is a fucking like a waste of time, and we'll leave it at that.
That's good. But yeah, no. So that's why I say you need the leader, because the leader was like directly responsible for the creation of the Red Hulk. And because for so much of that, the questioning of who is the Red Hulk, he was sort of like the face to be like, who is it, leader? You must know. This reeks of your experimentation. So when they said that they were going in that direction with this film, I'm like, well, I really hope that fucking Sam Stearns is back. I hope that dangling thread, I feel like I got a wheeze going on. I'm really sorry, everybody. I feel like that dangling thread from the Incredible Hulk, I'm really happy that years later is being picked up.
It's a weird, so that's like, I think that's the other big thing, right? Is the connection both to, like, we want you to know what's going on with, like, Harrison Ford as Ross now, and we're bringing the leader back in and all of this. The weird ways in which this movie is going to really tie itself to, let's face it, the bastard stepchild of this entire franchise, right? Like we want to talk about forgotten films that are kind of left to kind of go off into the ether, right? You talk about the Hulk, and like people forget, like, oh yeah, not the Ang Lee one, right? Like, it's like this movie, the ways in which Captain America: Brave New World is now tying itself to the Incredible Hulk, right? That's the full
title of it. A film that released 3 months, I think, after Iron Man. Like, we all think of it as like some weird, strange distance between them, but it was the same year as Iron Man.
Well, I think the big thing was that it was because they were taking this huge risk with big actors in these roles, right? Because you had Edward Norton in that one, and everybody was just, and then like hearing how like he had kind of taken over some stuff of the movie, and then so like it was Marvel kind of still figuring itself out, and it knew it didn't want to keep making movies that way. So there's been this like active move, like definitely has been this active move by Marvel. This is not even conspiracy theory level. This is for sure to try and make you not think about that movie for so long.
They
have gone out of their way.
Sejohn, you were not wrong. They released 5 weeks apart from each other. That is insane to me. Yeah. That like 5 weeks after Iron Man, we went to go see freaking Ed Norton play the Hulk in a movie that really worked for me.
That one didn't.
Like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really love what they did with Emil Blonsky and the Abomination. Tim Roth played the role very well, but I don't like the look of him, but they fixed that.
I really like Tim Roth and Blonsky in that one, and I really adore what they do with him when they bring him back around in She-Hulk. Right? Yeah. Just to also then tie in more Hulks to all of this, right? Is that we're building up some weird Hulk stuff too, which is really cool. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, no, I think that I love Emil Blonsky being like jealous of the Hulk. I just didn't like the look of the Abomination. Like it was that. No,
famously, a lot of fans did not really enjoy the interpretation, shall we say?
Yeah, like I loved the whole "I want to be like him." It's since we don't have the Cold War, which was the inherent like inciting action to most, if not all, of the doppelganger Marvel hero villains. In the 60s. The
doppelganger from the other side of the world.
Yeah, yeah, like it's like you have the Fantastic Four, and then you have the Red Ghost and his super simians. Like, he's like, I'm going to do the same thing as the Fantastic Four, but I'm Russian, so I am evil. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's, when he goes up there with 3 gorillas. So that, I don't know, so he doesn't have to share with them because he's also a communist.
My geopolitical goals do not line up with yours, and therefore I am the villain.
And then he kind of gets like phase powers. He kind of gets Kitty Pryde powers. That's why they called him the Red Ghost. But then like Emil Blonsky being a Russian sleeper agent in the original books who stole the technology, and then after the Hulk exposed himself to the same levels of gamma radiation, transforming himself into the Abomination. Like, that was the thing. So making it, the government wants the Hulk, and why the fuck wouldn't they want the Hulk? Again, using a lot of Ultimate stuff. I just listened to us talk about the Ultimates. I was listening back to some old episodes for a topic that I really look forward to covering in a later episode. One that is not literally, hey, can you record in 15 minutes? Yeah, I guess so. Like, there's going to be some time for that. But talking about the Ultimates universe, the big thing about Ultimates is that everybody is trying to recreate the super soldier serum, and that is dripping from the, like, first few MCU films.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
it is
100%.
everywhere. Like Bruce Banner is like, yeah, I'm trying to recreate the super soldier serum. Like, why? Why would you fucking care about that?
Well, and the Cap franchise has just kind of leaned on that the whole time, right?
Right.
Because like you have Cap where it's about it. Winter Soldier, it's about learning about Bucky and about how they try to kind of create their own super soldier in what they were doing in the experiments with him. And then
Red
War,
Skull is technically that too. Come to find out that Black Widow was also injected with a super soldier serum in that
so like
universe.
we start to learn all of this stuff about like and then
Isaiah Bradley,
the Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
Where like the entire thing is about stealing the serum, right? And like these people using it and not knowing what to do with it. And also us then learning about kind of the history of the serum and the ways in which it was used in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just it is unfortunately the kind of the spine of the Captain America story, right?
Yeah.
And so because they've tied the Hulk to it and all of this, like I guess it was inevitable that we would get here.
Yes, and I'm excited. I am excited to see Red Hulk in a movie. But then where I'm coming from, like where this all started from, is Giancarlo Esposito was revealed to be in this film, like at the longest amount of time, 2 weeks ago. And one of the reasons why that is a surprise, and he is clearly a product of the reshoots, is this film was supposed to come out on May 4th, so we already got all the McDonald's toys, right? We already know who that spoiled, right? Whoever Ruth is. We know that Diamondback or Copperhead, right? So there's going to be some Serpent Society. Python Patrol is G.I. Joe. Some Serpent Society is going to be in New World Order. We don't know. I didn't see Copperhead or Diamondback or any of the Serpent Society people in this particular trailer. So I don't know if that's still there. I saw Ruth. I saw the new character Ruth, who I guess is going to be the new Sharon Carter, maybe. I don't know. I saw the guy who's going to be the new Falcon, who the McDonald's toy revealed that he's going to get a suit and wings. I'm happy that he was not in this trailer, in the suit. I'm glad that Joaquin was there. I'm just glad that he also didn't suit up. I'm glad that they're saving that for something later on in the film, despite the fact that McDonald's already spoiled it. Red Hulk was spoiled by McDonald's, which I thought was hilarious. I'm going to just admit that. But yeah, the fact that Giancarlo Esposito didn't get a cute little chibi plush version of himself really tells me that he is something new for Brave New World. I really wonder if the presidential storyline was there. I think it is very strange. Did you even bother with Secret Invasion? Is going to be how I word this question.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Wait. Why? What's up?
Well, I mean, because like that, the president of the United States of America plays a pretty heavy role in Secret Invasion.
Oh, right.
So like. Is Ross running against him? Or his 2 terms up? Did the violence that he incited in the wake of the Skrulls? Did the Skrulls even fucking happen in this universe?
Yeah. No, there's some questions, man.
Yeah, like this feels like a hard, fast reboot of the MCU. That is the biggest thing I take away from that hour and 47 minutes. Minute and 47 second trailer that we just watched. Is that it really does feel like we are paring it down to its basest elements. And I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, it is what makes me excited, because it makes me think it's going to be more of that kind of movie I prefer, which is that, like, it's cool that there's a couple of references, but overall this thing is its own thing. Like, and that's what I want right now. I don't want another one of these movies where, like, if you didn't sit through the last 10, you're not going to get this one. And, like, I know that sounds like super basic, but that's the fact of the matter, right? This is the face of the superhero fatigue people are feeling right now. Is, like... And I think that they know that, and I think that's why they pushed back and did all these reshoots. My fear is just that in doing that, they've made a lesser film all around. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, we will see how it performs and all of that. But seeing the sheer glee and delight in my father's eyes, I was not going to watch this teaser. I will admit that. I had plenty of times at work today while I was on lunch and all of that to watch this teaser. I watched reactions to this teaser from people because the sheer level of like anger and disapproval that like filled my YouTube recommendations in the like hour after the trailer had dropped blew me away. So I listened to some of the more even-headed individuals that I listen to about popular culture to just like get other opinions, and like them saying this film has already bombed and it doesn't come out until February of next year. Like, yeah, that made me want to watch it a little bit. But I'm like, I'm seeing Deadpool and Wolverine in 2 weeks. I will see it then, right? I don't need to see it now. But the excitement and like childlike glee from my father when he's like, they're doing a new Captain America, like that was infectious. And that is why when we're talking about multiverses and all of that, because of Mortal Kombat 1 of all topics to be where we started and where we are now in this episode, like that's why I wanted to watch it. And I understand why he's excited. First of all, because Harrison Ford is there, and any man who is the same age as Harrison Ford loves Harrison Ford. And like added bonus, like my father and Harrison Ford are birthday twins, which I know that phrase literally means fucking nothing, but they share a birthday. And tomorrow, July 13th, is Harrison Ford's birthday. So like maybe it was an early birthday present for him, getting to show off him acting. Did you see Dial of Destiny? Like, the real talk. Have you seen the 5th Indiana Jones?
No, I have not watched it yet.
Good. First of all, I'd be very upset if you said you had, because I've been looking for somebody to talk about that movie with. And if that could have been a topic on the fucking Say Report for however many weeks, a year. It came out June 30th of last year. And we've just not done it. I'd be furious. Not at you, more just at like the situation. But also, yeah, that he just kind of shows up. That's a pretty solid descriptor for how he is in that film. Mm-hmm. And that's like, I don't know, we will talk about Dial of Destiny one day, and I look forward to it. I think I've given like some of my thoughts, but not as in depth as I could or want to go. So, I mean, that's a fact. So it is exciting to see him on the eve of his 74th birthday, I think. I know he's a little bit older than my father. I said everyone who's the same age, but let's see. 42. So Harrison Ford is turning 72 tomorrow. Is that math right? That math right? Yeah. No, is it 82? I'm going to do some quick.
62.
It's not
no,
62.
82.
It's
82.
It's 82, right?
It's 102.
Harrison Ford is going to be 82 years old tomorrow from this recording. From when you're listening to it, Harrison Ford turned 82 2 days ago.
Didn't he have a quote about like what the hell is a Red Hulk?
I believe he did. I don't know what the fuck that is. Let's see. I'm on the Brave New World trivia page. I'm sure. Before I click on the page, how many pieces of trivia do you think are already existing on the page for Captain America
6. Brave
New World? 6?
I'll give you 6.
I'm saying 53. I just clicked. Oh, do you not tell at the top? Yeah, there's way less than 53. There are about 13 looking at it real
13.
quick.
Okay.
So you were closest without going over. Bit of a spoiler. This will be Harrison Ford's second movie that he's playing the President of the United States after Air Force One. I thought he was running. I didn't know that he had already been nominated. I thought that he was running for president. That's why he got rid of the stash. And now to like get it going, he's like, man, wouldn't it be great if Captain America supported me for the presidency? Who do you think Captain America would support in our current presidential election?
No, we're not cluing this. Who do I want him to to support, I think is pretty fucking obvious.
Yeah, I think you can listen to our 15-minute of politicism at the last episode if you want to know the answer to that question, the thinly veiled answer to that question. But, it was just fun to say you reacted exactly how I wanted you to. Thank you, Sejohn. Much love, my brother. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm excited for another Captain America movie. I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I know a lot of people didn't.
I don't know. Here's the thing. I've never met anybody IRL that didn't, so I haven't been able to really have that kind of conversation with anybody. And at this point, I don't care to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I do think that there's one moment that just makes no sense in that entire, like, everybody cites spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a show that came out 3 years ago, while we were all on pandemic lockdown. So if you had Disney Plus, you probably watched it. Sharon Carter being the new power broker, that does not bother me at all. The people who are pissed off about that, I'm like, no, I totally see her becoming disenfranchised after everything that fucking happened to her.
She was trained by Nick Fury. Do you not think somebody with that kind of background would not see the benefit in doling out their own personal form of justice in this world?
Right?
It made total sense to me. I don't if Fury was not in the position he was in, he would have been. That would have been the reveal, right?
Yes, it was one of those situations where, for the MCU, for everything that we know, it doesn't surprise me that Sharon Carter is the power broker and that she might harbor some ill will towards Steve Rogers, who, let me check my notes here. They're old notes. Chose her aunt over her via time travel. Yeah, no, I get it. I'd be a little pissed off too. I don't know. Sharon Carter she was done weird in the MCU, but everything that was done with her leading to her being the power broker, that tracks. That one doesn't bother me.
What is the moment it does then?
The moment that does is when the leader of the oh my god, the little girl who runs
the Watchdogs, but not the Watchdogs.
Yeah, I can't think of the freaking name of it. Yeah, the Watchdogs and everything, but freaking name. What the hell is the name of the organization? I don't know. It's not important. It'll either come to me or I'll look it up in other times. When she blows up the hospital, that moment, her being the one to blow up the hospital, really was strange.
I mean, it is supposed to be the moment that you see her character is going over. That is, you were supposed to not like that or feel good about that. I don't know. That worked for me because it was doing exactly what it was supposed to do. That is the moment where you go, I'm not rooting for you anymore.
Right, and I understand that, but I feel like that maybe the character or the writing for the character never really committed to that fact. They still kind of wanted to flag smashers. They wanted to still have her be sort of sympathetic, and it's no, you can't write her like that anymore. You had the moment where she gave it all away, and everything leading up to that point, it doesn't really make sense that she gave it all away. But then once you have somebody commit and act like that, you need to commit to the person they become after that act. You.
Yes, I will. Okay. Yeah. So after that fact, if you feel like they still try too hard to make you see her side of things, I can definitely see that.
Yes. That's the thing. It's and that's the reason why it feels that's the moment I look at it and I'm where that moment feels out of place. And that moment feels out of place because the writing for her does not really reflect her having done that.
Right.
It's that little bit oh, okay. But I don't know. So that's the moment that I cite. That's the one that sticks out in my mind. Because she was a really great character. Carly Morgenthau, as a character, and it was really good. Mm-hmm. And then that happened, and it just became weird to watch the character. They're no, but she still has a good point. I'm yeah, but you know what? People who blow up hospitals that have children in them, doesn't matter how fucking good their point is, they're despicable at this point. And they're not Gru despicable. They're for real despicable. That's what the Joker does.
I mean, we are sitting in too real of situations to
Yeah.
even really like think about it in those terms, right? Like, hey, there's just too much going on in
Yes,
the real
exactly.
world
Yeah,
now that
yeah,
is
right.
too
In the real
reflective of
world
that shit.
currently, yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
there's no 100%. I can see that. Yeah, and that's fair. But for me, that doesn't define that entire series for me at all. In fact,
Oh, it
I
doesn't
my
define.
least
I
favorite
still.
part of that series is this like weird rebel group that weirdly he's like chasing. He can't seem to stop. Like anyway.
Yeah, right. Like that is the weakest part of it. That's all. I love Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I like that by the end of it, it's Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Like I like that it is 6 episodes of Sam Wilson becoming Captain America. It is
Yeah.
beautiful. And somebody
Yeah.
was talking about how like why is he like so disenfranchised? Why is he like so cynical in this series? And it's like, well, he lost 5 years of his life, and let's talk about the scene where like, oh, you're an Avenger? Thanks for saving the world. I can't give you a bank loan because you don't have any employment history for the last 5 years.
Yeah, because why is he so cynical? Because he's a 40-something-year-old black man in America, and even though he's a superhero, he still has to be that.
That
He
moment.
can't just be a man.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That moment where they're
he
like,
can't celebrate anything about himself in the ways that
anyone
that
else
Steve
can,
could.
right?
That well, no, specifically that Steve could. Like
Yeah.
right, like in that idea that like as Steve Rogers, like he was able to be seen by everybody in this way, and he's just forever going to have to carry this fucking baggage with him of history that he's not in any way fucking responsible for.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like it's like no, I think they did a pretty good reason explaining why Sam wasn't like the breath of levity in the room anymore. Because when it came down to him having to shoulder that responsibility, he was already playing on ultra violence mode.
yeah, fucking hell, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but
I
like,
yeah,
but I'm not looking forward to it in any way that is like, oh man, I hope this saves the MCU. And you know, in much the same way that I don't think that's going to happen or want it to happen with Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Like, I just that's not what I'm looking for right now. Who knows? Maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe I'll be singing a different tune and I'll be aching for the days where we had 20 movies being shoved down our throat. But like right now, that's just not where I'm at, and like I'm okay with these movies taking their time to come out and develop themselves. You know, because the other thing is that we keep talking about how worried I am about how thin this movie's going to be because we're because of what has happened to it. But it also isn't coming out until what, like February of
February
2025.
2025. Is
Yeah,
there
so
an actual
like,
date? Let's
like,
see.
there's also plenty of time for them to keep doing what they've been doing with this movie, and that's reshoot after reshoot.
All right, here is the only about it. It is a Valentine's movie. That does not surprise me that it is a Valentine's movie. Deadpool kind of popularized the idea of there being a Valentine's Day superhero film, right? I think that was the first one that did it, right? And then like 50 Shades of Grey were Valentine's Day movies, and those are kind of superhero movies now that Madam Web was a Valentine's Day movie, and her web connects them all. Sorry.
But yes, I do believe Deadpool kind of kicked that off, and in a lot of ways kind of saved that slot for film in general, right? Because
yeah.
infamously before Deadpool, it was a pretty dead.
It was kind of a dead zone. Usually you would have like an Adam Sandler comedy would release around that time. As we've, you know, it's funny, two days ago when we recorded our Adam Sandler episode, we're like, we don't really talk about Adam Sandler on the Say Report. And now it's like all I can do. And I'm so sorry about that. But you know, you gave me 2 days to... No, I have other stuff that I can talk about besides this. In fact, this has been a very rich field for, like, harvesting. I wasn't expecting Mortal Kombat 1 to get us into such a deep discussion because of Ed Boon's, like, heavy reliance on the multiverse, despite the fact that, like, Mortal Kombat versus DC, when they fought all the DC superheroes... that was very clearly a different universe that was slamming into the one of Mortal Kombat.
I said it at the very beginning of this episode, and I'll say it again. Like, the Mortal Kombat has always just done this, and then like the way that they kind of held it up as like the big like oh my god moment of Mortal Kombat 1 is like that's not a thing, guys. Like, you need to do more than that. I'm not saying you need to do more than that. You need to stop acting like this is just a new thing, though.
Yeah. You did not invent a multiverse. You're not even the first people at Warner Brothers to rely heavily on the multiverse.
You're not even the first people in Mortal Kombat.
Well, that's the nail on the head. Which does make me want to go back to Tekken just briefly, because asked
this
how
whole thing did start with me asking about what was going on with
Tekken is. So Dale and I had wanted to start Princess Peach Showtime this week, right? We should have been talking about Princess Peach Showtime, but I didn't do that. I'm just going to be honest about it. I had intended to start it, but Dale had not yet finished the Tekken 8 story mode, and it was we want to start Princess Peach together. So today, the goal was she finishes Tekken 8. We can finally discuss the story. It's a pretty solid Tekken story. Unfortunately, the cliffhanger at the very end is the most important thing to move the story forward. Like, everything about it is just kind of basic anime, like the good devil versus the bad devil, right? In Jin and Kazuma. I don't know his name. Kazuya and Jin, the father and son, who have, been throwing each other off of cliffs since the 90s.
Buildings and all that shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it is very much, Jin, after the events of Tekken 5, when he gave into the devil and killed a bunch of people, he's now trying to atone for that, and by the end of it, he becomes an angelic form to fight the pure devil form of his father, and all of that is fine and good. Now, spoilers for Tekken 8 is what I'm going to say, and the story mode of Tekken 8, Hayachi is dead. Hayachi is dead for real. He dies at the end of Tekken 7 in one of the main plots. So Hayachi Mishima is gone. And they introduce a new character named Reina. And Reina is an engineering student at a prominent Japanese college and all of these other things.
Sorry, I'm going to need you to take a second and just point out certain things. Like, okay, why is Hayachi important? I know we've probably talked about Tekken before and probably had this exact conversation before, but I need a reminder.
Okay.
So, like, Hayachi is dead, but what does that matter to me?
So, in Tekken 1, Hayachi is the head of the Mishima Corporation. And they're just like... And he has, like, intent on world domination and all of that. So he tried to give birth to a son with the devil blood. He could not use the devil blood, but he could pass on the devil blood. So his whole goal has been to spawn an heir to have the devil blood and then harness that devil power from his child. So that is why in the first game, at the very beginning, we see Hayachi throw Kazuya over a cliff because he is hoping that by, like, sort of like how, Deadpool or any of the X-Men, when put into mortal danger, their mutant power activates.
Right.
That was Hayachi's whole hope, is that by, like, throwing his son, who was supposed to have the devil gene in him, over this cliff, it will activate his latent devil powers. So Kazuya survives that because of the devil genes, but he doesn't have full control over his powers. And then Hayachi is disappointed. He goes to try to find someone else to be his heir so that he can, use them to try to get the devil power. All this other crazy bullshit. It's not important. Kazuya, in the canon timeline, fights himself back to the Iron Fist tournament to defeat his father. And then that game ends with Hayachi being thrown off a cliff by Kazuya in a bit of poetic justice.
So this is fucking wild, because Tekken to me had always kind of had this weird element of, not like cyberpunk or anything, but definitely like a more advanced city-esque, like, business. Like, when we talk about Hayachi Mishima, like, the few things that I remember about him is literally him being, like, a big businessman. And yes, I got the impression that he was, like, a leader in this, like, community, in this world, in this whatever, but, like, this idea of that there being this whole other side to it that is this, like, devils and gods aspect to it is, like, just completely throws me for a fucking loop. Sorry, but go on.
That's completely fine. So, like, that whole thing. So then Kazuya takes over the Mishima Corporation after killing his father. But the whole story of Tekken 2 is Hayachi survives being thrown I think into over a cliff or whatever. Like he catches onto the side of it and he climbs himself back up. And so the goal of Tekken 2 is as
Those
Hayachi
Mishima boys can't get rid of them.
to go murder his son Kazuya for like, how dare you fucking try to kill me the way I tried to fucking kill you, you piece of shit, you ungrateful little whelp. So that is how it ends. Tekken 2 ends with Hayachi fighting against his son. I believe the fight does activate the devil powers within him. So that is, the whole deal. But he defeats the devil. He's unable to steal the power, but then he realizes that the devil power is too great, so he throws his son into the volcano, which makes him turn into a devil and fly out. And then he goes and he settles on this little island where he meets Jun. I don't know Jun's last name.
Kazama.
Jun Kazama? Yeah, it is Kazama.
Yeah.
And then with Jun, Kazuya has the child Jin, who is the main protagonist of Tekken 3, because the ogre who is summoned by Hayachi to, be a powerful ally to him, and he's like, you will go destroy this island where my worthless fucking son has taken up residence and bore me an heir. You will destroy the island, you will bring the child to me. That is why he hires the ogre. So ogre murders Jun. Kazuya runs away.
This is a world in which there is a walking furry known as like King, right? Like the Catman, and there's like a fucking like Joker-esque like Yoshimitsu character.
Yoshimitsu is Yoshimitsu. He is a robot that was built in the 1300s and has just been upgrading himself since. Because it's the same Yoshimitsu in Soul Calibur that's in Tekken. Just for add a whole other layer to everything that's going on.
Jesus Christ, this freaking
Tekken's insane.
My question is, when you say ogre, is this an actual ogre or is this a...
he doesn't look like Shrek, but he's about a 9-foot tall man with green skin who wears stone armor pieces.
Got it. So he does look like an ogre.
Well,
right,
and then after he is defeated, my favorite, but Tekken 3 was the first Tekken game that I ever beat in the arcade. And I will admit that. And it's all because of Eddie Gordo. Thank you, Eddie. I'm sorry I haven't spent the $20 to buy you in Tekken 8 yet. But that's ridiculous. The amount of money that they want for character downloads is ridiculous. $20 might be me being hyperbolic. But it's close to that. It's at least 15. It's a lot of money to justify buying one new character for the game. Even if it's Eddie Gordo, like my guy from Tekken 3. So when you defeat Ogre in the first round of the final fight, he becomes True Ogre, which is like a bipedal chimera with a lion's head and the goat horns and a fucking snake tail and wings. Like, it's awesome. Ogre is one of the coolest things about Tekken. And then, Tekken 4, 5, 6, they all happen. I couldn't tell you anything about them because I got back in with Tekken 7, which was, Jin feels bad about becoming a devil and throwing his dad over the cliff and all this other bullshit. Lots of people are thrown over the cliff.
Lots of people
but then
the volcanoes.
So he's like, I want to renounce my devil powers, and in so doing, he unlocks the devil who is responsible for bringing the devil gene to the world, Azazel. So then the 7th game is about recapturing Azazel, and he ends up being trapped in a woman's arm. Because it also becomes super anime bullshit in the nicest fucking way possible. They lean into.
I believe we have treaded this ground before, so we do not need to keep doing it. But I love listening to you try and explain this story because the nonsense that this game is willing to get up to, and Tekken don't give a shit. Which is a very different feel than when you look at what happens with Mortal Kombat, right? Everything that happens in that series of just it's just dripping with just don't you think this was such a smart thing for us to do? Whereas Tekken's just I don't know, it's cool because this one looks like a panda.
There is one thing that Tekken gives a shit about, and that is Waffle
Throwing
House.
motherfuckers off cliff. Sorry,
no,
what?
it is Waffle House, and it is the fact that since Tekken 8 was released, people have been contacting the guy behind the Tekken series. I don't know his name. If you want to look it up while I'm talking, that would be very helpful.
The guy behind the series?
The guy, he's behind Soul Calibur and Tekken. Like, it's like Ishikago.
It's
something like that.
Nakabayashi?
I'm not sure.
Yohei Shibori?
I don't know.
I'm looking at this whole list here, man. I ain't
type in Tekken Waffle House. That is the fastest way that you will find the solution.
Okay,
because you need to find the guy who's just like, why?
It auto-completed.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. That does not surprise me at all. Because people are like, please make the Waffle House a freaking arena in the new Tekken game. Make it downloadable. We don't care. It needs to be an arena. And he's just like, I don't understand why you want this to happen. And that has become pretty much his whole personality related to Tekken is like, I don't understand. You go to the restaurant.
By the way, is the only Harada's the name.
Harada. Thank you. Oh yeah, I just beat his ghost. That was like one of the final trophies I needed to get was his ghost, Tekken God Harada. And it's got like a 199,000 rating of like, he's the freaking best. And like for a trophy, you need to beat his ghost that like plays like him in a fight.
That's random, isn't it? No,
it's not random. You can actually, it might have been random in the beginning, but now if you go to the arcade machine, you can go and just choose to fight him.
No, it might not be. Okay,
it was random in 7. I know for a fact in 7, fighting a dev ghost character, not Devon, but like developer ghost character, was random, which was why it was like so difficult to. I was so happy to get the platinum. I got it in 48 hours, and then like hearing people like, I just am not able to fight against this like one of these people because like so many ghosts had been created because so many people had been playing. So that was random in 7. I will admit that, and I know that for a fact. But now I guess to combat that, if you go into the super ghost mode and you go to the arcade machine, he is at the top of the list. But like, he's a hard fucking fight. I'm not gonna lie about that. But yeah, the whole thing is he's like, and what I don't understand the most about Waffle House is that it is not people fighting people at the Waffle House. It is staff fighting customers. If that happened in Japan, no one would go to that restaurant. Why do people continue to go to the Waffle House? Like, he is one step away from saying Waffle House cannot be an arena in Tekken 8 because 2 random people cannot fight, and we don't have any Waffle House staff characters. Because that seems to be his biggest issue. It's like, he has been trying and failing to understand why people want Waffle House. Now, granted, it's because it's a meme, right? Because of all of the fights that happen at Waffle Houses. But it has just been, that is the one thing that Tekken, like, Tekken don't play that.
Fucking around with people, right?
I would hope
like,
so.
Again, in Tekken 8, like you're randomly everywhere. You're in the street, you're in the woods, you're in front of a temple, you're in lava. Tekken doesn't give a shit about like
Tekken don't give a shit about except I can't think of a reason why you would fight in front of Waffle House. I'm like, well, one of these is like we would have to talk with Waffle House to get the licensing, and it's like you could make it like friggin' Blint's Hut. You could make it like it doesn't need to be Waffle House. It could be anything else. But he's like,
I don't know, man. It could just be, could also just be what is it? Just doesn't get the American sense of humor, I guess.
Yeah, I don't. It is that has been the most fun thing about Tekken 8 is that, and that is the one thing that Tekken don't fuck with. Like no, we're not making a Waffle House level. Please stop asking me. I do not understand. But to go back to it, to the whole Devil Blood thing, Hayachi is always trying to have heirs who do it, right? Like the character, I believe his name is Lars. I think, Lars is his name. He's French. Like he has a French mother, so he has a French accent. He's from France. He did not have the devil gene, but now he fights against Hayachi because, like, when he found out he was his natural father, all of that. So Reina is this new character. She is young. Probably older than 18, but I can't imagine that she's like older than 23.
Okay.
And it is revealed in the story, she fights Nina Williams, and Nina Williams like realizes after fighting her, they're like, oh, so you're, and she's like, yeah, we don't need to say it. And she's like, all right. And then Raina's like, I'm going to need someone like you in my organization. And she goes, give me a call after my vacation. And you're like, what the fuck is Raina working at? So then after there's 15 chapters in the story. The final chapter is just a fight between Jin and Kazuya. And you have to control Jin, because Jin is our main character. It is comprised of 5 rounds of fights. But, like, you don't really stop in between them or anything. It is just kind of, like, round 1, but it doesn't really say round 2. Like, there's just, like, a little cutscene to let you know that. Before the 4th one, there's a quick time event, so you can take off some power off of your father. And if you end up, like, failing, if you retry, you start from there. So that's an important thing to know. I'm also going to give like a little bit of a game hack, like pro tip on how to get both trophies, because the 5th and final fight, if you win, you get to see the good ending where Jin is the hero. He defeats his father and all of this. But if Kazuya beats you, that also triggers an ending. You can't try again. You watch a whole bad ending for the game, and there's a trophy for doing both of them. So my recommendation is to first beat the game as Jin Kazuya, and then go back, play through on easy mode, use they have a mode sort of like Street Fighter 6 where like one button does combos and stuff. It's called special input mode. It's activated by pressing the L1 button. And I like that. I like that you can activate it on the fly, so that if you're up against somebody and you just feel overwhelmed, like you can be like, well, at least let me try going with like modern controls, Street Smash Brothers style controls. Do that. Do all of that on easy mode until you get to that. Fail the 4th fight, and then you can switch the difficulty. Switch it to hard. Win the 4th fight using the simple inputs. And then let him beat you for the 5th thing. First of all, you get all of the unlockables for, quote, finishing chapter 15 on the hard mode, which that's good, right? At least they reward you if you lose there, and you get to see the bad ending. But on both the good and bad endings, there is an after credit scene, and it is the same for both endings, which is interesting, but, you know, what the hell? Where it is revealed that Reina is Hayachi's daughter, and the final shot of her is her activating a devil gene. So you've gone through all this stuff as Jin and Kazuya, spoilers for Tekken 8, to purge the devil genes from their body. At the end of the game, neither one of them has devil blood in them anymore. They can no longer transform into their devil forms. And then it is revealed that these may have been the machinations of Reina, so she could be the only devil in the world. And that's what Tekken 9 presumably is going to be about.
Interesting.
And I'm excited as shit for that. I'm super excited. And I hope it happens, because the other sad thing about Tekken 8 is the reveal from Harada that Soul Calibur is dead. We could do Tekken 8 or we could do Soul Calibur 7, and now there will never be another Soul Calibur game. And after just the sheer amount of enjoyment I got from Soul Calibur 6, that is sad. That is a sad...
I don't know. That's a... Why is talking absolutes? like we could be talking about a new Soul Calibur in 5 years, I bet.
And I'd love that. I think it's more indicative of where the video game industry is right now.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I think it's just one of those situations where Bandai Namco is saying, we're not going to focus on this anymore. People prefer Tekken.
There ain't a business in this world, Devon, that doesn't like kicking a dead horse every now and then.
Right? Did you hear that Marvel's making a new Captain America movie? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey!
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so that's all the Tekken 8 stuff. It has been a blast, and I'm very excited to start Princess Peach Showtime, specifically because here's what I'm looking forward to do this Friday, right? July 19th, here's what Devon did. Well, first of all, July 18th. My Friday starts the day beforehand. I'm going to watch the My Spy sequel, right? The Dave Bautista film, My Spy. It's getting a sequel that's set in France. I didn't know that was happening. until like the beginning of June. It's why we watched My Spy with the parents finally. And on the 18th, I'm going to be watching My Spy. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very excited for it. Also, some show is finally coming back that I'm excited about, but I can't remember the name of it because My Spy is what I am more. Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1 also premieres on July 18th. So, like, this is going to be a pretty stacked weekend for me. Because also what I found out today is July 17th, right? David Howard Day. Freaking the new Ninja Turtles game for the Switch is coming out. And, as was just announced, we thought it was just going to be couch co-op, right? They were very adamant, like, it's going to just be couch co-op. No, we fucking tricked you. Online multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I intend to get the boys together, right? And Dale. Dale is Donatello. Devon is Raphael. I don't know how the Leonardo or Michelangelo is going to break out. You're going to be one of them. Hopefully, a couple of friends of the show are going to be the others, but I am very excited to play through that game on the 17th. Watch My Spy on the 18th. On the 19th, wake up, go see Twisters, then come back to the house and play a fucking shitload of NES World Championships on the Switch.
I saw a beautiful review for Twisters the other day that said that it was Amblin goodness, and I really, that right? Like, that was like, all right.
The cockles of my heart, kid, I didn't think could be warmed anymore, and then you said those words.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how Twisters does. It's a very silly thing, but I think right now that's exactly the kind of thing people are willing to go into the movies for and really talk about and enjoy. So I think it's got a good shot here at hitting pretty big. So I'm rooting for it.
I think right now you could put Glenn Powell in 90 minutes of him getting shit dumped on him, like literally just poop getting dumped on Glenn Powell for 90 minutes, and people would go see it.
This is like his third project in 2 months, isn't it? That's like coming out.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Something like that.
Well, I mean, because About You or Anyone But You, that came out at the end of 2023, but then it finally came to Netflix. And as the big push to go see Hitman, and then Hitman happened, and now this is happening, or did he have something in between those?
No. I was thinking of Anyone But You. I was thinking of it as a 2024 release because I'll be honest, just think about movies and streaming now. It's like I'm not sure if I feel good about that or not. But I was gonna ask why you don't seem to have any plans though to go help old Uncle Kevin. Old Uncle Kevin's got a movie out too.
What? Oh, the American movie? It's
Horizon.
Funny you should mention old Uncle Kevin Sejohn.
Well, because I said your family's super. Now this is me asking you a serious question, and this is not me judging or anything when I ask it. But I was under the impression that your family was a Yellowstone family.
Oh, we're a Yellowstone family. I mean, We're not a Yellowstone family like the Duttons. We're a family that enjoys the show Yellowstone. The distinction is important. And
importantly, you're also not a Yellowstone family like the ones that will go out to fucking Lowe's to go buy Yellowstone hats and socks, right? You're also not buying Yellowstone coffee now. So.
No, we're not that devoted to Yellowstone. We bought a Yeti cooler for July 4th. I think that's the closest thing that we did. But also, Dak kept the beer cold till Sunday, and it was incredible. I was like, the hype is fucking real. They're not a sponsor. I feel obliged to say that as I drink out of my 42-ounce Yeti tumbler for this episode. Not a sponsor. No, we're not. Yeah, we're not to the devotee level of. We didn't start watching Yellowstone until we got Peacock and all the episodes were there. But now, I
think that's fair. I think that's what a lot of people really came onto it. But there are people that are in line at Walmart to get the koozie, like Yellowstone fans, the Yellowstone undies are selling out type shit. So the brand that Yellowstone has become is fascinating to me, and I feel like that's really what Kevin Costner was banking on when he made this big old move. That does not seem to be panning out. I don't mean to laugh. It's just that the hubris of it, and then watching it not work is just kind of fascinating in real time.
Okay, so it's very interesting that you say watching it not work, because like I said, I've been researching a topic that we talked about on the show about a year ago. And it turns out that I was an episode too early. So I listened to all of episode 345 on Wings of Gossamer and Lasers. And in that very episode, we talk about me wanting to go see a movie, wanting to go support a movie, but it only being available at the theater in the smallest auditorium possible. And the fact that the price to see a movie in that theater is comparable to seeing a film in the laser projection Dolby Atmos theater, and I can't justify it anymore. I literally a year ago, I'm like, look, I will go. It was Haunted Mansion. I wanted to go see Haunted Mansion. We couldn't talk about it at the time because of the SAG-AFTRA strike. So, and we weren't giving any films any airtime, right? In solidarity with the union and their strike. But I can now say it was Haunted Mansion. And Mom was like, let's go see Haunted Mansion. We're off today. I'm really excited to see it. I'm like, I'm excited to see it too. I went to go buy tickets, and it was only in the smallest auditorium at the Cineplex. And I wasn't going to do that, right? I will just watch Haunted Mansion when it comes to home because it would be a comparable experience to being in that small auditorium. And that's the fairest thing. So for Horizon, you better believe I was excited to go see Horizon. Even though it would just be me alone, right? Mom and Dad are like, we'll see it when it comes home, right? We're interested, but we're not going to go to the theater for it. I'm like, I understand that. I get that. Because that's the other big thing too, right? That factors into my decision making. But when I looked up Horizon and I could only see it in one of the small auditoriums, not even the local Cineplex, right? Auditorium 8 is the big mother, go fuck yourself, laser projection Atmos. It's where we saw Black Adam, right? Mm-hmm. Crystal clarity, the sound is just hyper immersive. And again, the ticket is a quarter more to see a film in there, right? But then you also have two large auditoriums in Auditorium 9 and Auditorium 10. All the other ones are smaller, right? The smallest being 15, the former Directors Hall, where they play tested serving food during the movie. So in addition to it being the smallest of the auditoriums, it's also set up with a lit stairway in the middle of the theater. So it's just a miserable place to watch movies. Right?
Yes.
It's the Directors Hall, but let's give you just the worst viewing experience ever. Okay? It's one of the reasons why pre-pandemic Dale and I had started going to Regal Theater in Swansea, even though it was a 45-minute drive to get there, because they showed it in one of their larger format theaters, like Fathom Events or things like that. And it was cheaper than going to see it at the Showcase in an auditorium that the floor lights were distracting you from watching the movie. Just talking that. When I looked at Horizon, it's only playing in that. Doesn't have a single showing in the laser projection. I'm like, I'm going to wait till home, right? That way I'm watching it for the first time with my family. It's not one of those times where I've already seen it and I need to keep any reactions to myself. It just seemed like the smarter thing to do. If I could have seen it in that beautiful format, right? Laser projection, great sound, all of that, I would have. Yeah. But it's come to the fact, and we talked about this a long time for the Say Report, right? Even pre the pandemic being this thing that was sort of this fast-acting catalyst that made it hyper-truthful for me, right? Because we're not even talking for other people and their relationships with the theaters. I am a person who pre-pandemic had an AMC A-List Stubs membership, was going on Thursdays and seeing my 3 movies for the week that Thursday, right? I was using it. I'm the guy. MoviePass has a documentary out, and I promise at one point we're going to watch it and talk about it for this show because I'm very interested. But one of the things that I am holding off on is I'm afraid I don't think I'm going to be name checked in the documentary. But there was a time, MoviePass, if you don't remember MoviePass, there are plenty of episodes where I talk about it of this show. But the TLDR, or I don't want to go back through 390 episodes of the Say Report to find Devon's speech on MoviePass. You could see one film that you had not yet seen in a 24-hour period. And that 24-hour period, right now while we're recording, it is 8:33 p.m. So if I went to go see a film that started at 8:33 p.m., I could not see a film tomorrow unless it started after 8:33 p.m. Like, they were smart about their restrictions.
Right.
We, the users, were just smarter. As evidenced by that time that I was able to go to an 8 a.m. movie on a Saturday, then a 10 a.m. movie on a Sunday, then I was able to, in a 7-day period, use my movie pass every day. Right? There was just enough variety in the theaters and all of that. And that's the type of shit that they didn't think people were going to do. And I'm afraid that, like, we have evidence of, like, this one guy in New England who did this thing. And I'm just afraid that they're going to call me out as one of the reasons why MoviePass failed. Because I was also on MoviePass way before the insane, it's only $10 a month, like, gamble that they tried in 2019. God, I was on MoviePass in like 2015, Sejohn. Pre the podcast. But like that, I was going to the theater all the time. But now, the only thing that gets me out to the movie theater is if a film I really, really want to see, right? Like, I have to, it needs to be a film that, like, oh, goddamn, if I don't see it in the theater, I'm going to be disappointed, right? And those are few and far between. And then it has to be in that best format that I can see it in. Otherwise, I do not see the point of the expense.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. That's just the fact of it, right? Bad Boys, Ride or Die, the fourth Bad Boys film. That was a film I saw on the day, on a whim. I went to the dentist. I opened up my phone to see what was playing in laser projection. It was Bad Boys, Ride or Die. The film was starting in like half an hour, and no tickets had been sold yet. So I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I'm going to go see it, right? Like, my mouth is numb. What else can I do besides watch Martin Lawrence and Will Smith? Plus, if it's interactive and Will Smith slaps me in the face, I'm not going to feel it. So, you know. But yeah, that's why I want to support Kevin Costner. I think that it is ambitious and crazy that, like, the first two parts of Horizon already had release dates. Like, that was crazy that he had completed two parts of his epic.
So I think that's what we need to break down and kind of talk about is like what this even fucking was.
Yeah, sorry.
So essentially what Horizon is Kevin Costner has had an epic dream in his fucking head for 30 years.
34 years. After Dances with Wolves. After Dances with Wolves.
Started working on this back in 1988 is like what he counts as like the beginning of this whole thing.
Wow, I didn't realize that. I thought it was Sorry.
No, yeah, it's back in 1988 is where he talks about kind of starting to like develop this plan, this idea for wanting to tell this story about kind of the expanse of the West, like the expanding of the West, like, and for good or for ill, like I don't know if he was the best person to write it. I mean, I understand he's got a great love for this part of the country and like a really good sense of the history. He's done many a movie celebrating it. I mean, you mentioned Dances with Wolves, but he's done other films as well that, like, so this is just something that he's just wanted to do for so long, and he finally kind of got the ball rolling. I mean, like, some failed starts through over the years. Disney at one point was kind of in on it, but he has written, him and a writing partner of his, Baird. I don't know the guy's full name, but
John Baird.
But Costner and Beard have basically written out all 4 movies. Like, they're written, and like he's ready to direct all of them. Costner is ready to direct all of them. He's got his money ready to go to produce on all of them. Like, he is like whole hog throwing into this. And to what Devon was saying, they filmed 1 and 2 pretty much back to back, and with that in mind, just intended to put 1 out this month and like 2 out in like 3 months, right? Like, 2 was supposed to come out in, like, November,
the first one,
right?
No, not even. I just looked up the date.
August?
June 28th was the release date of part 1. Part 2 is August 16th. So like within almost a 2-month period, little less than that. A little longer than the space between Iron Man and the Hulk, though. The Incredible
I
Hulk.
don't know what that means for 3 and
Okay.
4. So like,
So,
so the
looking
idea
at
is it's
it,
supposed to be. Go ahead.
yeah, looking at his IMDb page, and again, I'm not an IMDb pro, so I can only see like the vanilla version of it. American Saga Chapter 1 has already released. American Saga Chapter 2 is completed. 3 is in production. They're currently making Chapter 3, and that's it. Like the 4th one is no longer listed. It was originally in an upcoming thing. Now they have Untitled Kevin Costner Ariel of Roman project, but even that's not part of Horizon. But they're currently shooting the 3rd movie. So the one that is in question is the 4th. Because I don't think that they would stop. Like you said, he's already got the money. He's already got everybody together. I don't think they would stop midstream with Chapter 3.
The only reason there won't be a 4th is if they smash 4 and 3 together.
Right, yes.
That will be, at this point, after this long with this idea and him having such solid ideas about what he expects these films to be, there may not be a 4, but in that case, we will be finding out that 3 is like 4 hours long and is basically an amalgamation of them. Because there's no way. Because so what I was saying is that the concept behind them is that these first 2 films are going to be kind of pre-Civil War West leading into the Civil War and then the other 2 are supposed to be post and kind of the continuation of that expansion. And so like it's gonna be this American saga about like the growth of our nation. I again am not sure how I feel about Costner being one to tell that story necessarily, but like I'm not opposed to it necessarily, like I guess, but he represents a type of America, let me put it that way, that I think has a lot to answer for, and if he's willing to talk about that and face that in these films, I think that's fucking rad. You know, like I think that'll be really cool to watch, like and really important to watch. On the other hand, from what I understand about things like Yellowstone and the other projects that he's been involved with lately, they don't always handle that stuff great. So I don't know.
You know what blows me away? In May of 2024 at the Cannes Film Festival, apparently the first chapter received a 10-minute standing ovation, moving Kevin Costner to tears.
Yeah. Like, there's nothing to be said about the quality of it right now. It's between you and me, I mean, because like I have not seen it, you have not seen it, we don't like I know Kevin Costner makes good movies, so like I'm not surprised, but like there is a level at which this movie is just going to go down in film history pretty notoriously because of just after all this time in the middle of possibly the worst. I mean, it stinks of I'm gonna save us.
A little bit, yeah.
I am going to bring my art to the cinema, and I will bring art, and I will reignite like like the love of film, like, and it's not anything that he's saying or anything that anybody's doing that says that. It is just the hubris to put a project like this out right now in the middle of everything that's going on in Hollywood it's ballsy.
Yeah. But again, we there was also a time when we talked about at some point Hollywood is just going to become these boutique passion projects, the way that things were going. So like while
this
everything
isn't boutique passion project though. This is a passion project, I'll give you that. But boutique speaks of minimal, not as risky as opening a whole store. Like there's a reason that boutiques popped up and worked like they do. Is because they secretly don't cost as much to run, right? And that is not what this is.
True. You're right. This is like Kevin Costner opened his own fucking Walmart. That's essentially what this is.
Decided he was like, this is my boutique Walmart experience.
Yes. Right? We're not like other Walmart. Here at Costner Mart,
you
always...
No, it's project.
It is exactly that. It's big box store passion project. At Costner Mart, you always get wrung out by a human because I feel the human touch is what we're missing in the world today. Okay, Kevin Costner, can I get the Yellowstone stuff here? No, they still have an exclusivity deal with Walmart.
I'm fucking leaving those motherfuckers. That's the other thing. He's also releasing this on the heel of him having a pretty amicable exit, but at the same time, people are scratching their heads like, you leaving Yellowstone? Like he's walking away from a pretty big other project that is actually mega successful right now. I think that's the other part of where I'm kind of reading this like hubris, right? Is to say, I don't need that. I've got this. And then they'll like walk to this. And like, I love that you've got the privilege in your life, man, to do this kind of thing right now. To walk away from the biggest franchise possibly, both on screen and off, as far as I can tell, since fucking like the Looney Tunes. Like, this is crazy how much Yellowstone has taken over the culture without me ever having to fucking watch a minute of that show. I still can clock the all of the little bits for it everywhere in my world, right? And he's just like, yeah, and I'm gonna walk away from that to go do my 4 film saga that's gonna cost me everything, but it's gonna be art. And it's just like, man, good for you. I'm glad that you live in a world where you can do this right now while the rest of us can't.
The fact that Claude and his family have seen Yellowstone is really the indicator to me, because they are not the target audience. But like his in-laws were like, you have to watch it. Like, that's how big it became. And it's like, shout out to Claude, big fan. Hopefully you'll be one of our turtles. We'll figure it out. But yeah, it is Yellowstone is huge. But here's the thing. We've touched very briefly on Taylor Sheridan on this show, and the fact that off of Hell or High Water, he built this huge empire with Paramount. And right. I have to say, of Taylor Sheridan's projects that I have personally like interacted with, Yellowstone is the weakest of them. 1883 was really good because of the fact that it was self-contained. The fact that Yellowstone 1923, everybody thought it was a miniseries, but then fucking surprise, it's going to have a second season coming out. Like, that one was incredible. More Harrison Ford, just to connect it, right? I thought we were going to end with the 2 of my dad's favorite actors, Harrison Ford and Kevin Costner, but then I go and bring up 1923 of all fucking things, right? Yellowstone proper, Yellowstone Prime, right, to use multiverse technology and terminology to describe it, is coming to an end. But they've already announced a spin-off to the 4R Ranch in Texas following breakout fan favorite character Jimmy. So there's going to be more Yellowstone there. And there's going to be a second Yellowstone spinoff. And we don't even know what the fuck that's going to be yet. They're just saying there's going to be another modern day spinoff of Yellowstone. So even though the Prime series is ending, they have already seeded a bunch of other fields. Right?
It's like they looked at the Arrowverse and went, we could do that, but with cowboys.
Right.
Like, it really, and marketing and
tits,
franchise and
tits and swearing. Like, that's the other thing, is that one of the other reasons why I think Yellowstone, first of all, Yellowstone is popular because it is The Godfather with cowboys. Come fucking fight me. It is The Godfather with fucking cowboys. And I love it. I still love the show. It's The Godfather with cowboys. That's the show. And because it is also The Godfather, they're swearing. There's nudity. The Arrowverse, imagine if the Arrowverse, as successful as it was, also had, like, nudity and swearing in it.
Right? I mean, they do tie it to, like, Titans and all that shit. So, yeah. Like, we do get to that eventually.
But it's one of those situations, like, that's the other reason, right? Is that, like, adults want adult content in their entertainment. It's why The Sopranos blew up the world the way that it did when it came out in 1998. Is why freaking Sex and the City has continued to be a monolith.
The benefit that Yellowstone has over both of those is more access to eyeballs, because those were contained on a premium service.
Right.
Now, this kind of is in Peacock. It is somewhat premium because you do have to, add it on top of everything else you're already paying for. We do live in that time, and I'd be a fool not to recognize that. But at the end of the day, more people have access to Peacock than I think had access to HBO when I was growing up.
That you say that, but Peacock is just where it's streaming. New episodes air on the Paramount Network, which is part of the basic cable package. If you have cable, if you haven't cut the cord, you can watch new episodes right there. And it's part of this weird basic cable deal with the devil that, like, Fargo, South Park really started it, but then when South Park had kicked it off, Mad Men and Fargo and all these other things were like, if our show airs at 10 p.m., then we have fucking carte blanche. It doesn't matter what we say.
Well, that's because FCC regulations dictate that after 10 o'clock that there's like that is the hard line drawn by the FCC that you were allowed to do other stuff. There straight up used to be porn on certain channels after 10, like back in like
the
80s
naked talk show was referenced in something that I watched. Simpsons, Marge on the Lamb. I got to get home to my daughter before that naked talk show starts. God, Marge on the Lamb. I could do a very special episode of the Say Report right now on that 22 minutes of television. I don't know how I didn't see it. It's a season 5 episode. I didn't see it for 30
you've never seen
years.
that episode before?
No, and I had seen Homer getting his hand stuck in the Crystal Cola machine, and then I never saw further than that. This episode of The Simpsons blows my mind. Like, with some of the jokes in it, I don't want to cannibalize content because I could do a very special episode on it, a time capsule, something, and we probably should.
We'll see if it happens.
But it is like you're not wrong. Yeah, like there used to be the naked talk show, and that was on regular. Politically Incorrect was on ABC, and that was on at 11:30. So they were kind of, not the cleanest language there. You're not wrong. It's one of those things that existed, but they have taken full advantage of that post the golden age of television. So Yellowstone is something that it is easy to watch, especially because almost everybody has a DVR too, right? So nobody is watching it live. I mean, the first time nobody is watching it live, but then once you watch it live and you're like, oh, I don't miss any of the fucking content watching it live right now, you're so invested in seeing what's going to happen that you're sitting there at 10 p.m. on fucking Sunday to watch the new Yellowstone. It is the only scheduled television that I am aware of that is not sports.
No, because Game of Thrones ended, right?
Yep.
So now
you had House of the Dragon, but again, House of the Dragon, most people are watching
Game of Thrones anyway. House of the Dragon is just not the same.
Well, I mean, you say that, but I am constantly dodging conversations with people about House of the Dragon.
It is House of the Dragon. You know how House of the Dragon is not the same cultural conversation? I go to Hot Topic and they don't have House of the Dragon shit for me to put on.
That's a good
Yellowstone
point.
Shit.
Sejohn is disappointed that he can't get a House of the Dragon toque.
Yeah, disappointed. That's what I mean.
That's what
I mean, like, that's what I mean. Is like you go.
I get you.
Like,
I feel you.
There was Game of Thrones shit being sold at Walmart. There's not House of the Dragon shit being sold at Walmart. There is Yellowstone stuff being sold. It is. This has been the thing that has kind of taken up that slot.
And it is. It's accessibility. It's also the fact that Taylor Sheridan is everywhere. Because I mentioned just the other Yellowstone projects that I've seen, but Project Lioness was incredible. Project Lioness was probably the best bit of television that I saw in 2023. Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone is excellent. This show's fucking excellent. And then you also have Mayor of Kingstown, which I haven't watched, but I've heard really good things. The third season just started. Yeah, Jeremy Renner, right? To like tie it all to Marvel. So, I mean, but like Tulsa King, I am so excited for that coming back in September. And it is like, so Taylor Sheridan, as much as Yellowstone is awesome, and there's some stuff there, I think that he has gotten better with everything that he learned on that. So it is, you're not wrong. It is this huge cultural phenomenon, but I think Kevin Costner and all of them realize that like we've branched out, we have the branding, we started the shows not after Yellowstone, but like concurrent to them, and the audience is there as they're hungry for more Yellowstone. I think they're going to be safe with Yellowstone Prime coming to an end later this year, possibly, right? With a 6-episode season.
I don't know what we're going to see happen with the Horizon saga.
But the Horizon saga, I don't know what's going to happen. I know that
it's not a saga also supposedly anymore, right? Like if it's not 4 movies.
We'll see. But I know that when it is available to watch at home, the Decker family will sit down and watch it.
But this is where we come back to the hubris conversation.
Yeah.
He literally names it an American Saga. And now there's a chance that they might not even get to a 3.
Again, they're in production. Well, there's my question. I don't know where you are.
It doesn't matter that it's in production. The movie could be damn finished and they could decide to not put it out nowadays.
That's a very good point, right? Speaking of that, fucking Micronauts has a 52-episode cartoon series that was completed in the 80s and just never broadcast.
Completed in the 80s? I thought it was completed in
the latest episode was just completed. Like, final production was just completed. But they started it in the 80s. Like, that's the whole thing of it, Sejohn. Is that it was started when
something tells me then that there might be some issues.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get myself too caught up in that conversation because if they were making that movie that show for 40 years and they couldn't figure out a way to get it in front of somebody's eyeballs at some point, there's something else going on there.
Yeah. Completed
Why are they all racist?
52 episode animated series. It was announced back in 2017. I'm sorry. Someone had conflated the two things, but it was from 2017. And I
was going to say, fucking 40 years. That's nuts. No, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So that, but I also read somewhere that. So I'm glad that I just fact checked it against, what I would fact check, something like that. Because I didn't really care about it. It's just one of those things that, like, completed series. You're not wrong. Completed projects are destroyed all the time now. So I just don't know what to think of it. But here's the question. I've not visited in Utah because I'm a really bad friend. So I don't understand where you are in relationship to anything. Is there a chance, since Horizon and American Saga is filming there, that you could run into this at all, or no? Because you're like in the mountains and it's in the southern part of Utah, right?
Yeah, no. There's very big pieces of Utah that are just desert, right? Like that's just down specifically kind of the southwest, but definitely the southern part of the state in general is pretty much that, right? And there's some, and famously they can shoot all sorts of stuff in Utah because they can go from the desert to the mountains to the woods to the neighborhood. Like they can do that kind of moving around and never leave the state, right?
They can even go to the Salt Lake white with foam. God bless Utah. Your home sweet home.
You're no joke, like we have seagulls and pelicans too, so they can do like ocean scenes and shit. Like they can do all sorts of stuff out here, and it's a huge it's a huge place for filming. Plus also one of the big film festivals of the whole fucking year is here, right? So they shoot a ton of stuff out here, and you never know that they have made such an art out of like we had one indication over the last 8 years that I have lived here. Up the street from us, there was a parking lot that is to a park that is never used, never full, nobody in it. Then suddenly, for like weeks at a time, full, right? And a sign at the end of it that says something about like not valet, not party bus. What's the word I'm looking for? Shuttle. Like shuttle parking, like here, wait for shuttle there. Like there was a sign about shuttle stuff for weeks, and that was like me and my family who have been in this industry and like know this kind of stuff. That was like, oh, they're filming something nearby, and this is the place that they're using for parking. Then they're shuttling kind of the probably like crew and like lower on the rung cast get shuttled in from this lot when they get here. Whereas like I'm sure the higher ups are getting all kind of driven directly to site, right? And then lo and behold, we found out like later that like Real Housewives of Salt Lake, we had some stuff going on in this area and things like that. So yeah, so we were like confirmed, yep, definitely they were filming something. That is the closest I have ever seen, because otherwise you can never fucking tell. A restaurant closes down for a week and it's like not questioned, and then you find out a year later that it's in this like Sundance movie that comes out, or like this whole park ski resort area gets rented out for an event, and that happens all the time out here, weddings and all that sort of stuff. So you don't think about it, but then suddenly it pops up in a movie next year with fucking Will Ferrell in it or some shit. Like they have made such a good like there's a whole side industry out of making sure that like movie sets and television shows and shit don't get bothered when they're filming out here, because the state fucking loves making movies.
Meanwhile, in Rhode Island, if a movie is filming here, you're like fighting people who are trying to see what's going on. Like
there are also very tactful, like, hey, on this day they're going to be filming this major scene downtown. Like if you wanna catch a glimpse, and then like they can get crowd shots, they can get people hyped, they can get people excited. It's marketing. It's all sorts of shit. Yeah. So they also do that. They do the tactful drops, but that kind of stuff is so. Like I glaze over that because like you said, where we grew up in Rhode Island, that would happen all the time. I've worked in industry places.
How many times?
So I'm sure that there's also a lot of that. If I were like paying attention to like newspapers and what do you call it, like free zines and shit at the restaurants, I'm sure that I would find some stuff about like planned events where I could run into that sort of stuff. But like casual, like just running into somebody shooting a movie just doesn't happen.
Yeah, like if you read Soak magazine, which is what I imagine Motif is out there, you'd know it all the time.
Gross.
Oh man, that was. I'm proud of that one.
Man, I know the Phoenix is dead in Providence, but we have a magazine out here called Slug.
Oh God, I do not feel bad for Soak magazine knowing your Phoenix is called Slug. Man, I had something here. It was oh, I mean, how many times were we disrupted in college by fucking movies filming in the building we were taking classes?
Where we were trying to like just walk by and they were like, hey, don't touch the talent. Remember that time that we watched our friend Johnny almost get his head fucking taken off?
Yeah, but that was total. Oh my god, that was Johnny. We should put some. He's like a famous drag queen in Rhode Island now. Like we should give him. We should look up the name. What?
I fucking love that for them. That is amazing.
Yeah, that is Johnny. But that day when he saw the guy who played Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat, just more connections in this episode, and he's like, I love him, and I'm like, Johnny, he's not surrounded by anybody. He's just standing there. You could probably go up and just say hello, and he's like.
You jackass.
Well, you say that, but I had his back. I totally had his back. And as he approached, a security guard...
That doesn't make it okay.
But it does make it okay because it worked out. That's the thing. I got to look up the guy's name now.
That's the other shirt.
The other...
I have a very solid relationship with Sugar. Also,
I have a healthy relationship with
Sugar. Worked out.
I mean, Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa, right? He played Ken because it was Hachi, a dog's tail, that was filming there. And as he approached, you saw, like, the only person that I can compare it to is Rushmore from Three Ninjas. Like, that was the guy who appeared to, like, stop Johnny from talking to him. And I stood there, and I had like an eye.
Fucking odd job looking motherfucker, man.
And I had an eye conversation with Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa, like, just let him say hello to you. Like this, he needs this right now. And you see him just wave the guy off, like hand below his waist, like just give it a second. And Johnny came over and he was just like, I just want to tell you, like, I saw you in the Johnny Tsunami films, and that is the reason why I want to be an actor. That's why I'm here today, able to meet you. And he's like, if I could just get a photo, that would mean the world to me. And I took a photo of Johnny on my crappy, it was like the LG phone that flipped open to it was like a Sidekick, but shitty. I took a photo of the two of them right there. And it was one of those moments where, like, that should have gone badly. I will admit that right now, that should not have gone as well as it did. But, like, I looked at him and I said with my eyes, he really needs to just be able to say hello to you right now. Because he was going through some stuff at the time, right? I love you, Johnny. Johnny Utah is what we called him, which all the connections, right? Because he was our little young, dumb, full of cum friend, freshman, and he was great. Big fan of Johnny and everything.
You're pulling out all the fucking worst URI things you can do.
I mean, like, but then it's also funny because, like, being so desensitized to filming, when Shipwrecked filmed on the Carnival cruise I was working on, I had no reaction to that.
Nah, bud, I was talking about the phrasing, but that's fine.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, no, I got you. It's you were right, brother. That's where I went to school. This is how I talk now.
Where they made the worst of us.
Oh man, there's a reason we're not the #1 party school in America. We don't include professionals. Oh man, this has been a blast. I have just had so much fun, but I think the time has come, and so we've reached the final curtain. Unless there's any other topics you want to introduce right now.
Nah, I think it's time to go.
All right, yeah, it's time to go. I'm going to go play Princess Peach Superstar, or Princess Peach Showtime, right?
There you go.
I'm very excited to play that.
Have you played any of it at all yet?
I played the demo. I played the demo to death. Okay. And then I just I started Alwa Awakening while I was waiting for Dale to finish Tekken 8. Finished that game. Pretty excellent, but I don't want to talk about it until I play the follow-up, Alwa Legacy, because the game ends on a cliffhanger that is, like, literally where the next one starts from. So we will talk about the Alwa games. I wish that they were still on Steam Summer Sale. Both of them were $1, and I would have told you to buy them. But at the same time, just
only
like
you had a place where you could have gone to let the crowd know.
You know what, though? But I say that, but the first game has some flaws that would make it difficult for me to recommend. Which is even for it's. I mean, we'll talk about it once I play Alwa Legacy. Like, you need to understand that I bought Alwa Awakening because I had beta tested the NES version of it, And the NES version, because it has the limitations of having to play on an NES, it plays faster than the PC version, which is crazy to think about it. But the PC game, it has like it's weird movement. Like it's slower movement than you would expect, especially coming from the NES version of the game. And that was a hurdle I kept finding myself having to clear. But we'll talk about that later. And Princess Peach, and certainly Twisters, and TMNT, and My Spy, maybe some Karate Kid, all sorts of things are going to be talked about in the next episode of the Say Report that will be a little bit more planned than this one. But hey, seat of our pants, I think we did a pretty solid job, right? If I do say so myself. So again, any other things you want to say before we send this one off?
No.
No. Okay, good. Excellent.
You already asked me once. I said
I'm taking it again. Reminder to go listen to the Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe podcast. Again, we just started off season 8 with the film Bulletproof. And spoiler, I don't even freaking say it. It's like probably my favorite Adam Sandler movie of all time. Is like just what I'm going to say here at the end of this episode. So go seek that one out wherever you found this podcast. You can find that podcast. If you want to interact with us, right, give us topics that we can pull from if we're doing another Seat of Our Pants recording, you can join our Discord. Invites are available wherever we are on social media, which is Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, or you can always go old school and send an email to thesayreport@gmail.com, and we will give you an invite there. Also, you can just communicate with us via thesayreport@gmail.com. And again, if you want the message to go directly to me or to Sejohn, make sure you include our name in the subject line so that it can get sorted out properly and I don't see something that is for Siege's eyes only. I know that could be embarrassing. But with that, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of The Say Report. William, please bring us home.
Thank you for listening to The Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so it's delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.